Do you have a Twitch account, or are you signed in as like a guest to Twitch, or how does that work? Oh fuck! But I see you have a name, but I don't know. That's like a okay. Did you sign up just to cute? Um, because I guess you can follow me. Oh, you did. Cute. You like me. You like me. Oh, there's shit on it. That's why. What was I gonna say? Uh, oh, here you go. You got it. You decoded my ADHD brain into something that actually made sense. Appreciate you. I feel like after the first time, like, how the fuck do you even exist? You understand my ADHD speak now. It cracks me up because I feel like this has just been how things have been always, but now that there's like the diagnosis, now kind of calls it to the forefront. Um, but now that Derek has been around and has seen it firsthand and whatnot, now he's just like, my God, I know I'm really painful to listen to sometimes because I can't get the brain to do the stuff. He'll just sit there and just kind of watch me with this look on his face, just like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like, hold on, I'm getting there. Or the last time that he was up here, it was a lot of him talking and him having the realization while he's talking. I guess he could like see that anything, whatever it was he was saying, wasn't registering. Nothing was entering the brain hole. So he would just kind of like quietly fade out and wait for me to kind of come back to sorts. And then I would check back in. He's like, "Are you here now?" It's like, "Sorry, I was listening to this conversation over here and watching what was happening with this thing." He's like, I noticed. That's why I stopped talking." Sorry. I'm just glad you recognize it. What a trip it is, my brain. I don't know what I want to make. I'm glad you do, because probably about 80% of the time I do not. So I'm glad somebody does. Gotta, that's not what I meant to put up. I got another fancy pumpkin. I was gonna call it a popcorn. What? Got another fancy popcorn. That was also one of my other my other favorite things that came from Derek's realization and understanding of the ADHD brain. We'd be talking, and now it's become one of his favorite things to do. Be talking about something, and then I'll bring up something seemingly way out of left field, and he'll just kind of stop me and be like, "So how does this relate?" Because, as we know, with ADHD, everything relates. There's a reason I just brought up this really random thing. It's because something else you were saying reminded me of blah blah blah. So he's just like, usually I'm on track with you. But how did this become this thing? I'm like, well, so you said this thing, and then it reminded me of this other thing that you had talked about a couple days ago, and then that reminded me of this time that I did this thing, which reminded me of the thing I brought up. He's like, okay. Like, normally I ride the wave with you, but sometimes it does not compute and I need help. But now that makes sense. You got it. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got it too. But I think he and I both have the same kind of like connective thinking. So he always wants to be on the wavelength with me rather than just letting me spew my nonsense and then just being like, okay, very good. Got so many of the funky ones. This is also a funky one, but it's turned around right now. Explosivo. I hate how gelatinous this thing sounds. I really do. I don't know how loud the game audio is. Oh, I can hear it. Go over. There we go. Okay, to move things. Ran out of space. That's it. What else do you want from me? In biofilm, yeah. Wait, was I supposed? Oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, I'm a big old dumb idiot. was supposed to be putting it. I was wondering why it insisted on having this up here. Because I was supposed to be putting stuff in it. I'm a big old dumb idiot. As one is. As one do. Oh, you're so tiny. I really hate the noises this thing makes. Is this another funky one? No. How do I get rid of this thing? Can I put it in... Oh. It's the wrong button. Is this where the crying happens? Oh. Did the crying already happen? I'm so... I am, really. I know, but I don't know if it happened yet. You know I don't know shit about these movies? Are you? Holds up to 160? Damn. Could I conceivably someone give me a thing. I didn't. Oh. Theoretically. I think. Theoretically? You still didn't do it. So take a thing. rings. Wheel? He's waving it around. With purpose, I hope. Oh. Stream that too. Everybody watches. I don't know what I was about to call it. I was about to call it Skytrain. That's not what I meant. I mean, A, I didn't know he was a king. A. B, I feel like kings are pretty notorious for being hog wild with power. So I don't feel like it was out of the realm of possibility for him to be swinging it around without purpose. Oh my lord. My Atlanta? Forgot that you were talking about Lord of the Rings. And I thought that you meant that these little things that I'm putzing with were good eggs, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, I guess what I could do, conceivably, that off. Take the possibly, conceivably. I was reading up on how to become, or how to get, like, money from doing this. And to start, you need to become a Twitch partner. But to do that, you need to stream for, like, at least 12 hours or something. Then maybe it was like stream at least 24 hours, stream at least 12 different days, but then have like an average of at least 50 viewers during a stream. And I was just like, I don't think I've had more than 2. Just like a cool. But I did also start at like 6:30. But I don't know. It's my first one. Maybe I just need to keep doing it. Maybe like if I keep doing it, I'll start showing up on more things. Maybe I need better tags. Maybe I need to promote myself more. Because I didn't really do like any promoting. Any kind. I just did it. I ended up posting about it on Instagram like 3.5 hours in. Which at that point, everybody I have on Instagram, it would have been at least 2 or 3 hours later than whenever time it was I posted it. Wasn't nobody gonna be watching. You are here. And I appreciate you so thoroughly. I was going to say heavily, but that's not the word that goes in that sentence. I do also appreciate Derek for having shown up earlier, even though he was only here for like 2 minutes, maybe. I had a rando here for significantly longer. They're giving me all sorts of tips and tricks. Now, and that person was like, please keep streaming. So, okay. That other person that was on earlier who just sent the sad face emoji and then was like, "Oh, my friends hate me." If you're looking for the sympathy card, I am the wrong person. I don't know. I feel like it was probably somebody fishing for compliments or something, but again, the complete wrong person to be fishing for. It ain't me, friend. That would have gotten him. Would have reeled him in. I mean, really, the highlight of the stream. Desensitization. Stinker. I love that this game has just become pumpkin planting sim. Bing bong. Bing bong. Alright, let's get to 30 and then send that bitch off. 160 is a lot. I'm not trying to be doing this for that long. It's another fancy one. And it's green. Give me the whole rundown. I just know that Gollum is a person with, like, schizophrenia. But he's technically not even a golem. It's his precious. That much I'm certain of. So, like, what is the deal with the ring? I feel like I don't know enough. Mmm. Dump it. It is quite sickly. change forms or some shit? Feel that go. Because he's... Is he not also Smeagol? Yeah. So he, like, has, like, a nice version that's not as grotesque. Hmm, 585 something. Schizophrenia. Hmm. I got a biofuel throwback bundle. Fuck does that mean? Hmm. Got another one of those little thingies. Hmm. Arrow. Oh, oh. A pumpkin shelter, bitch. What? Oh, I'm excited. One plastic, one clay, one resin, one carbon. I can do that. How do I make plastic? Carbon and compound. I got carbon? No. I can make some. Switch my shit out. Oh, my dumbass. I already have some on me. Duh. Duh. Put it on the smelter. I'm sorry. What? I too, as I did not know. And Gollum just said, "Nah, I'm gonna take that finger." You know, sometimes you gotta. Sometimes you just gotta. God damn it, I need clay again. What else do I need? Hmm? Which I know that I have now. God, this thing's gonna be fucking stupid. Clay and more carbon. No, I do need to. I took the other thing off and didn't put the inhibitor mod on in its place. Like an idiot. Like an whole idiot. Except I don't play is in this game. I do it often in Montañas, but I don't know where. I cut a hole through the mail, in case you're wondering. I needed direct access. Oh, this is right by... Maybe I lied. I did. Find clay. Does it show? Shows that there is stuff, which is not at all helpful. Because game loves to say that clay is everywhere, but it's really fucking hard to find all the time. Evidently. Why does everybody like to lie to me? Mm. 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 That clay I see over yonder? Yeah, it is. Here it is, in all its glory, along with some macaronis. It makes a different noise than the resin. The resin makes the bing, and clay goes boom. Boom. The organic noise. Okay. Now where the Frisian frack is home? One of those things, but I don't know enough about the names of foods to know. I'm being entirely honest. Oh, it's not right. Research. There's a lot of tethers over there. Do I have space? Oh. this. Why do I have so many Instagram notes right now? Oh, I could see that. True. I didn't see they had the little discolored pieces. It reminded me my mom loved peacock feather decoration things. There was a Mardi Gras mask. Yeah, it was in the family for a long time. That was all peacock feathers. I think my picture in my brother's phone. Maybe it used to be me wearing that mask. It was. Like it was like the regular plastic mask, but they had the peacock feathers all glued to it, but then it had some like big offshoots of feathers. Whatever happened to that mask? He's gone now. Now I wanna know. Would it mean melting into my own neck? Because I do that. Sometimes it's just too good, and you have to melt into your own neck. Is it the one after you had fallen asleep and I was assaulted with all of the goodness? And I was in bed like, yep. It's pretty good, I must say. And now it's time to make the best fucking house. I'm so excited for this. Pumpkin shelter, baby. I need to get this the fuck out of here. This needs to go literally anywhere else. That works. I'm so excited for this shelter. Like, what do I do with it? Oh, hello. It's a Derek. Derek, say hi to Chelsea. Chelsea, say hi to Derek. She's currently watching, was it Return of the King? Apparently it's on Paramount. If you have the Paramount channel, they're just doing a marathon. I'm just really waiting for. Yeah, I know a thing or two sometimes. Yeah, but hers is a marathon that's running right now. It's different. The vibe is different. Yeah. Are they do they have channels? I mean commercials. Do they have commercials how you're watching them, Chelsea. See, that's a different vibe. It's old school. You're not just streaming it, getting all your shit in one go. It's the old school vibe. Derek, I'm currently making a giant pumpkin house. And eating some limon chips. It is. Yeah, it's a whole different. The nostalgia is real. Like, man. Oh my god. It's a pumpkin shelter. Look at it. It's got the hole over the door. It's got teeth! I just don't know what to do with it. Does it take place of my current shelter? It is very Tim Burton. Incredibly Tim Burton. Because this is my current. Well, but if you've seen it already. This is my current shelter. Does it just take the place of this shelter? Because the shelter's connected to a lot of things. Ooh, I didn't know you'd been reading them. I know you'd talked about wanting to read them, but didn't know you had been. Oh, I can't even replace this one. Okay, so this has to go on a separate planet, it would appear. No. I just all the kudos to Chelsea for sitting here for hours listening to me ramble about nonsense. Derek, I had somebody come in here earlier trying to like interesting does not even begin to describe it. They were trying to like gain my sympathies or something. Um, I was like, I'm not the person for that. Also, look at this new thing they put in the game. Do you see this? Look at this. Yeah. They came in, sent a sad emoji, and I was like, what's up? Why are you sad? All my friends hate me. And I was like, oh, those don't sound like friends. And then they never said anything else. And I don't know if it's because I was like, anyway, maybe they just didn't get the reaction they wanted or something. Yeah, this thing's awesome. It doesn't even need power, it just does. But it's very janky. Also, I've got a pumpkin face. Hell yeah, I'm unfiltered. Especially if you're gonna come on here and try and just never name me. It happens. You'll be alright. I'm gonna leave my coffee. Okay, it just immediately put it on the smelter. So I guess I have ceramic now. Mm, mm, what do I want to do? I guess I can go check. Fingies crossed. I was just telling Chelsea I was reading through like how to start making money on Twitch. First, you have to become a Twitch partner. Um, so I was reading through the requirements for that. One of them was like stream for like 24 hours or something like that. Stream on 12 different days, and then I think the other one was like have a running average of like 50 concurrent viewers or something like that. And I was like, I have had two at most at any given time. So there's that. So that part's gonna take a little time. Yeah. I was telling Chelsea, I didn't really market myself at all. I probably need some better tags for my videos. I probably. Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly if they're gonna make it so that you can get paid from the platform, it makes sense. But, um, yeah, well, always. My hairdresser streams on Twitch, and she was telling me and showing me earlier when I was getting my hair did, that she was like, "It's Spooktober," and I was like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Yeah, I was actually." She was waiting for my color to lift, and she's like, "Yeah, come look at all the stuff I've been doing with Streamlabs." I was like, "Okay." So I went into the back, and yeah, she was decking it all out. Good for you, dude. You go. She had like an animated like zombie hand coming up and grabbing stuff. And like, more power to you. She's pretty great, I must say. Yeah, she streams on Twitch. I think she said every Tuesday and Thursday. I think that's what she said. She sent me the link. It was just like, please don't use my real name. Thanks. You got it. Yeah. Yeah. I was telling Chelsea I really should have gotten Graveyard Keeper on Steam, but I didn't think about it too much. I did think about let me not lie. I did think about it when I was doing it, like, oh, should I just get this on the computer? Um then I was like, well, I got my Switch in my hand already. I'll just buy it so I can play it on the couch. I'm still so salty about that they would even program that into the game. So salty. I was telling my hairdresser about that game. I'm down. Um, yeah, I was telling my hairdresser about it. Uh, and she was like, "Oh yeah, one of my friends has been telling me about it. It sounds like I need to get it." And I was like, "Did you ever play Stardew Valley?" She just stopped and dropped her arm. She's like, have I played Stardew Valley? I've only put hours upon hours, hundreds of hours into Stardew Valley. And I was like, okay, might be. She's like, yes, I love Stardew Valley. I'm like, well, then you will like this game. And it's just the darker side of that. But I've had my gripes with it. Just there's just some silly nonsense in that game that just doesn't need to have been. Like, Derek, I don't think I had told you, but I think I sent you the picture. Maybe, maybe not. When I died because I got struck by lightning in the game, obviously. Um, so there was this whole because it's very heavy on crafting and completing. I know I sent it to you. Wasn't sure if I sent it to Derek. Um, it's very crafting heavy, very like go and do all of these tasks for other people in the town kind of thing to unlock other stuff, blah blah blah. So it was this long ass process to gather all of these items so that you could get a town pass and go into the town where everybody's been talking like, oh my god, the town is where everybody's from, the town has all these things, blah 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 blah. So I was like, fuck, sounds like I gotta go to the town. Uh, Went to the town, well, did all the things, and gave my town pass to the guard, and walked in, and it immediately got struck by lightning and killed, and then sent back to my house. And then I looked it up, and it was like, oh yeah, that's just kind of like an Easter egg in the game. Like, that's not actually a place that you can really go. They just put it there so that you would do all of the things and then die and pretty much have done all of that shit for no reason. You can't actually go to the town. You can't, there's no town. I'm like, that's incredibly fucking stupid. That just wasted a whole lot of my time for zero payoff. I feel like they thought, like, oh, everybody that this happens to will find it so amusing. I'm like, that was a lot of shit that you had me do to get this passed, though. If it was just like something I could do on the fly, that's one thing. But, well, I don't remember what it said exactly. Something like the NPCs mention a town. So when they were developing the game, uh, all the people were pushing for this town to happen. So the developers wanted it to just be the one village that's central in the game. But everybody was like, no, you should make this town. So I guess in that regard, it's like a fuck you to those people. Like, okay, we'll give you your town, and then you'll go and then you'll die immediately. So shut the fuck up. But for those who didn't complain and didn't know that, I'm just a little bit annoyed. That's all. Chelsea was thoroughly tickled, though, that I got struck by lightning. There, and I don't know if it's just the the Twitch, I mean the Twitch, the Switch version, or if this is just kind of how the game is in general. It's a little buggy. I mean, I sent you both the picture where it just froze in the middle of me saving, so I was like, man, I'm gonna be really upset if this is one of those like save corrupting situations and all my entire save file is fucked. And I'm gonna have to start over because the beginning was also stupid. Fortunately not. But there was that. There's a lot of issues where you're walking around and then the game will kind of freeze and then it'll catch you up. That happens every, I don't know, every couple minutes, if not shorter than that. Um, but it's never like lagging. It'll just like freeze in the middle of walking and then kind of catches up. Uh, oh, because I forgot to stop myself. Um, what else? Some of it I think was just kind of poor design, like not giving you enough direction, particularly when they're giving you like really like rare stuff and then not pointing you in the right direction enough, and then you go and use the rare stuff and they're like, oh no, you should have used that on this thing that's integral to you progressing the game, and you didn't, and now you can't get those things back to go back and do the thing that's integral to progressing. So now you get to run around for 3 hours trying to gather all of these things that you haven't gathered yet because we decided to give you a taste of it that I guess they assumed you would use on the right stuff. I don't know. It was silly. It's very exhausting, yes. Lots of running around. Chelsea was over it because I told her that you have to, there's no running. You just have to trot everywhere in your standard trot. Uh, and there was no like fast travel. I do. Also accurate. Um, yeah, there was no fast travel, and you just had to trot everywhere, and that was annoying because the town is not particularly close. It's not close enough to your house and the graveyard. I was like, this is annoying. Um, um, but then there was a thing I ended up being able to get that was a transport stone that enables fast travel. So, but it's one of those games where apparently this is a thing with Stardew Valley. Never played it, couldn't tell you. Um, where you can only do things on certain days of the week. I know. Yeah, you can only do things on certain days of the week. Um, and there's 6 days in the week in the game. Where the fuck is my. You can only do things on certain days, and certain people only show up on certain days. But you still have a day night cycle, and if you miss that day, then you gotta wait 5 more days until you can do the thing again. So, yeah. Yeah. Where the fuck is my rail? Like, the concept is cute. Yeah. Fortunately, it's not like real time, where you're actually waiting real people time. I think it goes. I think each day is maybe like I don't know, maybe 10 or so minutes, maybe 20. Um, and you can like sleep to get it to go faster, but it's still just like ugh, and you almost can't. Yeah, you almost can't talk to anybody at night So you have to hit them up during the day. You can't do, this is going to sound silly, you can't do church sermons, which is how you get money unless you're selling things. You can't do church sermons uh, too early or too late on the one day of the week. So you might just miss out on a large sum of money because they donate at the end of the church service. Um, it's wild. Well, so it starts off, and you're just some guy walking down the street in some city, um, and you're like, man, I can't wait to get home to my beautiful wife, and blah 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 blah, and you get hit by a car and killed. And that's what starts you. That's what starts you being the gravekeeper. Because you then wake up and you're in this other world and you're like, where the fuck am I? And everybody's like, hey, you're not where you think you are. They're like, oh, you're the new gravekeeper. And he's like, I'm sorry, what? I'm the new what? Um, you sure are. You show is. Uh, yeah, and then it's kind of like, oh, well, you're the new graveskeeper because you're here now. Figure it out. Um, and then maybe, because you like wake up and there's this skull talking to you, but he's very cryptic. But he also says he has amnesia because he doesn't have a brain. He's just a skull. Um, but he's like, yeah, there might be this like portal that's being guarded by the Inquisitors, who also burn people at the stake. You get to watch people be burned at the stake because the Inquisitors are swearing that there's these cultists in the town. So he just like gathers people up and has them burned at the stake. I don't know. I was thinking more like the Spanish Inquisition inquisitors, like the religious one. Um, but you know, Star Wars might work too. uh, but yeah, you get to watch people be burned at the stake. And then you come across this like refugee camp of people who escaped the Inquisitors because they were being imprisoned and were like being lined up to be, god damn it, was being lined up to be burned at the stake. Um, and then you have to like help them do something. See, I told you, the two of you were gonna be all up in each other's heads. I'm just gonna sit here like, um, you also, I don't know that I'd mentioned it to Derek. You get zombies, and then you can turn people into zombies also. Because obviously you're getting a fairly steady influx of bodies that you have to either bury in the graveyard or you can cremate them. Um, but then yeah, you can turn them into zombies, and then have them like do your work for you. Like they can be the ones that go out and I died. They could be the ones that go out and like collect resources for you, shit like that. Why am I in my small one? Um, you kind of become one. Apparently, it's how do I just call the thing? Just I don't just call the hail. Oh, call car. Thank you. Um, Yeah, apparently you can play it in a variety of ways. I guess just depending on your own moral compass. Um, yeah, so you can make zombies out of people. Also, went into the cellars underneath my house, found out they connect underneath the graveyard and the church. Um, but then found that there's 15 levels of sacrificial dungeon underneath my house. And I went to like the first floor of the dungeons and um excuse me, and there were a bunch of like torture devices, like the things they would strap you to and they would crank both ends and stretch you apart. Blood everywhere, all that kind of fun stuff. Right? And you find 15 levels of it. And it's introduced to you by a guy who's just been guarding this gate named Snake. And then you get the key to unlock it, and then he takes you into the center of a pentagram, but right before the sacrificial dungeons, and is just like, I hate you. I hate you so much. I want to kill you. You're so useless. Blah, blah, blah. And your character's just kind of like, um, I don't know what to tell you, guy. uh, which, I went past where I needed to go again. What else happened? The It's a donkey and a pull cart that brings you your dead. Um, and the donkey talks to you, and eventually the donkey starts going on these entire rants about uh, how his employer is a, a filthy socialist, and he's going to start the next like National Socialist Party. In my head, I was like, that's what the Nazis were called. Um, so big yikes there. Um, yeah, then he starts making you like pay him a bunch of shit to have him keep bringing you dead. Um, so that's a thing. And now he's making his own party, which is called like the acronym is like Ecopod P. And I don't know what any of it stands for. And your character is always just kind of like, okay, whatever. um, yeah, now he won't bring bodies unless you're giving him his like daily rations of carrots, and then the other party or other people in the party have their own demands from you that you need to accommodate. It's very strange. It's very involved, and it's very, very strange. But, like, the premise is cute, but there are parts of it that are just like, okay, we're good to not keep doing this in the way that it's happening. But I did just get all my zombies, which I'm very excited about. And I'm hoping will make the game a little more palatable. I was walking around to all these places while you don't have a run button. It's quite exhausting. Then there's also a very, very small window of time because the bodies that you get also have a timer on them before they become uh, too rotted to do anything with. You can also take them apart and like drain their blood and take out their brains, etc. Um, fuck? How do I keep losing my rail? My question. Oh, there it is. Fuck was I saying? Oh, there's a very small window of time where you can use a body, and it's a very small window because as soon as you get the body delivered, it starts depreciating in value, if you will. And I think if it falls under 90%, uh, then you can't use that body anymore, and you have to do something else with it. That's a very short period of time. You get 10%'s worth to make this into a zombie. Where you're fucked. Yeah. Except video game human. In a game that has a 20-minute day and a 6-day week. People in this game will also tell you they require a bunch of like crops from you. So then you'll go buy the seeds, plant them, etc. And then you go and deliver the crops finally, because it'll never be like a. No, Pikmin's actually fun. um, it'll always be like I need 20 of each thing, and seeds are sold individually, so it takes you forever. You have to go get all of the things and harvest, etc. And then I know you told me, and I'm kind of excited, but I didn't enjoy those games enough. I don't think. um, yeah, then you'll go and deliver all the crops, and they'll be like, "These crops are shit." I'm like, okay, and is it? I think I had the demo of 3, and was just kind of like, "It's Pikmin. There it is." I need to do other things in this game. I don't know what. Um. Mm, yeah. When did Odyssey come out? 18? I think that was 2018. Um. Yeah. Yeah. I guess they were probably hoping that in giving us all of the remasters, was it the same year that the Switch came out? I thought 17 was when the Switch came out, like March of 17. Um, I'm gonna be real honest. I didn't know you left. I just thought you were. Oh, we got to the part, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that's what you were saying with tears. I thought you were saying tears because you were laughing so hard that I got hit by lightning in my game. Okay. Well, anyway, um, I thought Mario Odyssey was 18, and I guess they figured they were going to hold us over long enough with those remasters of the 3D Mario's that they didn't need to come out with another game. I guess. I don't know. I do not know. Huh. Oh. What we really need, for really talking about what we need a new one of, is a new Donkey Kong. That's what we really need a new one of. Okay. Interesting. So months in, but okay. Interessant. Yeah, we need to do Donkey Kong. A Donkey Kong that's not. I don't know what it was about Tropical Freeze that I just didn't care for, but they should do a remaster of DK64 because that shit was legit. Tropical Freeze or 64? I think 64 is one of those like hidden gems almost in the way that Super Mario RPG was, where like there were a bunch of people who played it, but no one like talks about it for whatever reason. But also Donkey Kong 64 and Banjo Kazooie are pretty much the same game. And I mean, I guess as with everything, the more or whichever one you played first is the one that you ended up liking. So for me, it was Donkey Kong 64, and I don't care about Banjo Kazooie. Similarly to, and this is a much deeper dig, Dante's Inferno and God of War. They're the same fucking game, but I played Dante's Inferno first, so I care about that, and I'm not going to play God of War. Because don't nobody want to play the same game twice. But I mean, really, a lot of those games from that period were all very, very similar. I mean, it was all the same team, but like Donkey Kong 64, Banjo Kazooie, even like Conker's Bad Fur Day, it's all like the same. You're doing all the same shit. Well, I mean, you could say that about a lot of things. You could say that about Chelsea's favorite game, Cyberpunk 2045 or whatever the fuck. With your dick size slider. But I was watching The Boys, um, and they were talking about when Cyberpunk was released and how it was super buggy and blah 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 blah. Um, that sounds about right. I was talking. Yes, see, you get it. Yeah, they were talking about when that game came out, and gee, and some people thought it was unplayable and blah blah blah. And Wade was saying that you know there were bugs, but nothing that was like completely game breaking. Um, but another game that had that same like public opinion for the longest time was Skyrim. And when Skyrim came out, he was saying like that game was completely fucking unplayable. That game was so fucking broken, you could barely get through 20 minutes of it uh, without some like game ending bug. But things get patched, things get fixed, etc. They come out with updates, blah 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 blah, and now. Which one are you talking about, Derek? Type faster. Or turn off your Wi-Fi. Oh, well, yeah, but that's what Wade was saying. Like, Skyrim was significantly more broken when that came out, and now after all the patches and everything is considered one of the best games of all time. Uh, so he was just saying like Cyberpunk when it came out was way more playable, and of course it's still going to get its patches and blah blah blah, and then it might be one of the best games of all time. Who knows? But he was pretty much just saying like people need to fucking relax when it comes to these games, and then Mark and Bob were more on my line of thinking, like back in oh there you go, boom bam, back in the console days pre-internet, you had to send out a finished game. You had to send out a game that worked. You had to send out a game that could be played from start to finish. Now people are just putting out games, just kind of hoping on the release day patches and then being able to patch it to make it like good enough down the line. That too, which I know you and I have discussed ad nauseum. Um, just put out a game that works. It's silly that we're relying on the fact that we have the internet to put out a game. Well, we can put out a game that's half done and then fix it with time, but at least we're getting our revenue now. Like, that feels cheap. That feels dumb. And I hate that that's just kind of the norm. Big oofs all around. Like, did all of these games on the consoles come out and be perfect? Absolutely not. Still plenty of bugs, but nothing was game ending because it couldn't be. No, certainly not. So I turned this into a just chatting stream because I'm not really doing a damn thing in this game anymore. I'm save and quit. Fuck it. Oh god. It's me. How do I. How do I. Do I? Yeah. And I know that this is in response to Derek. Um, I know a lot of developers, like when Game Grumps play these Sonic games and are just like, oh my god, these games are fucking horrendous. How are they putting these out? Um, and then some of the people on the team get back to Game Grumps and are like, we knew about all of these problems. We tried fixing them time and time again. We tried telling so and so, we tried blah 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 blah, but nobody cared. Nobody wanted to listen. They wanted to push the game out, and yeah, it's broken as hell. But we knew that. But the publishers don't get any of the flack. Everybody comes down on the developers. How could the developers put this out? It's not the developers. It's all of the companies that run the developers. And it's a bummer. Because then, yeah, you get fucked up games. How am post to? How am post to? Mm. Ooh, that's not how you spell that. I don't know if this is how you're supposed to do that, but I did it. I changed the stream title. I don't know how that works, but yeah, it's a bummer. It is. But would very much like a new Donkey Kong, preferably in the style of uh, like Donkey Kong Country, which I guess is what they tried to do for Tropical Freeze. But I don't know. I guess I didn't really give that game that much of a chance either. But I'd have to I'd have to do another. Yeah, I'd be down with a 3D Donkey Kong because they didn't come out with another one after 64, did they? I think that's the only 3D Donkey Kong. No? Or no, they didn't come out with another one. Because I guess they came out with Total Deviation, but like Donkey Kong Jungle Beat tried to make use of the bongos and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't. I think it's the only one too. Wild. I can't imagine it did that poorly, but I think that was just with it being made by Rare. That was just what they that was their doing. It kind of came out with like all of those 3D Nintendo games. Was there? I guess Donkey Kong's big game for the GameCube was Donkey Konga, which okay. How so? I love that game, but I think to me a lot of it is um, nostalgia and maybe having run into those things already, so I know what to expect for a lot of it. But I like all about that game. I have quick actions, but I don't know what they mean. I can raid or clip. I don't know what they do. Um, Chelsea, what were some of your childhood games? Did you play games like as a kid and then just end up getting into the like Skyrim route, or did you just like start with Skyrim? Oh yeah, you did say that. I never played Spyro. That was never. I don't think that ever made its way through my house as like a franchise. Ton of backtracking. Oh, I mean, yeah. But I think that was just kind of how those games were. Like, I just keep thinking like Donkey Kong Country and Banjo Kazooie were the same game, just reskinned pretty much. Um, but yeah, all of those games, or I guess both of those games, that was that was the whole jam because you had to go through as each of the different characters, and each of the characters had their different uh, abilities and stuff like that, and the different platforms. But I guess to me that was kind of fun because they had like different. I don't want to say move sets necessarily, but they they had their different things that kind of let you explore these. That's true. I guess I keep thinking of going and seeing it was what the witch in Banjo Kazooie, and then going to see Cranky in Donkey Kong 64. Um, but yeah, it let you kind of go through these places you had already been, but like with a fresh eye because now you're going in with a character who can do different things and interact a different way. Man, I didn't play Banjo. I know that was the bad guy. But I thought you had to go like to that hut and get the different potions and whatnot in Banjo also to give you different abilities the way you did in DK64. I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know anything. That's also entirely possible. I will still stick to uh, whichever one you played first is the one that you hung on to. I don't know that I know of anybody who played both games all the way through. It was just like, yeah, you started with whichever one you started with, and that was it because they're so similar. Still some of the greatest video game music I've ever heard, though. I love the music from Donkey Kong 64, but I also love the music in Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2. Haven't played 3. Derek, did you ever play Spyro? Can you can you commiserate with Chelsea? Because I never played Spyro. I think by the time Spyro came around, it was that weird interim where my siblings were getting a little too old for a character like Spyro, and I wasn't yet old enough. So that never came through my house. Also, hi to third viewer. You haven't made yourself known or shared any opinions or video game things, but I see you. Very long time ago. Oh. I guess I could see that. Yeah, Crash or Spyro. You sure were a Crash kid. He's still terrifying. OG Crash is fucking terrifying. Yeah, that's true. You do love your dragons. And I have pretty much been very staunchly not dragon. So that I feel like that's pretty much where our tastes deviate, Chelsea. You were for anything with a dragon, and once I saw it had a dragon, I was going in the opposite direction. Spyro, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings. And I was like, nah, it's not for me. Derek, did you say that you were watching that new Game of Thrones show? Did you say that? Do I remember that happening? I sidebar. I put that stupid purple cushion on this chair, but the seat of this chair is like contoured, so the cushion doesn't want to sit on it. It's very annoying. House of the Dragon. Oh no, he watched the other one. The other dragon show one. Ring of. That's the one. Rings of Power. Didn't see that, but I did see a single episode of House of the Dragon. Only because somebody else put it on. And then we had to do a lot of pausing so they could explain what the hell was happening because I also never watched Game of Thrones. They're the same everything. Derek, I was absolutely blowing Chelsea's mind earlier by by saying that Legolas could be a Targaryen, which is the one family in Game of Thrones. You're just upset because I'm right. You got auto modded for saying you hated me. You got flagged for aggression. I had to manually go in and accept that message. Did Derek die? What happened? So was all you played Spyro, Chelsea? I don't know. He died. Derek, come back. Well, what else did you play? Offer this information willingly. Obviously, in the time of Spyro, not obviously. I know you played Skyrim, and I know you play Cyberpunk. There's a Derek. Welcome back. Mmm. PS1. You're the oldest, right? Of three? Ape Escape. Well, I know not at one point. I know for PS1 they came out with those kind of like aggregate discs with a bunch of demos on it. But PS1 was like kind of before my time. I don't know if we had. I'm sure we had a PS1 in the house, but I think by the time I was around, or at least old enough, we had already moved on to the PS2. And then I don't remember ever seeing a PS1 in my house. The only exposure I had to a PS1 was my neighbor's house. He had a PS1. And I remember playing Gex. For a second, I forgot that you responded. Yes, we had several of those. Was to the demo discs, and I thought you meant you had several PS1s. I was like, dang. Okay, bye, Derek. Momentarily. Oh, Sonic. Oh, Sonic. We definitely were in a Sega house. Faux show. We got a lot more. We stuck pretty heavily to Nintendo. So, like, we had the original Nintendo, we had the Super Nintendo, the 64, the GameCube, etc. And me and my sister both had DSs. But we had a PS2. Ooh. Still works for EA? Because that's pretty bomb. I mean, EA, interesting that he gave you a Sega. Because EA doesn't like own Sega. Sega. I think the only Sega game I had was Super Monkey Ball Junior on the Game Boy Advance? Maybe? Possibly? That was the very first game. Well, that game was the very first time that I actively transcribed a song. I had a big Casio keyboard and would just play the one level song. Would sit there and figure it out on the keyboard and was transcribing it like a nerd. And I was like, I want to go into video game music. And then it was like, that's not a career. You have to go into composition. And then I got a little older and everybody was like, comp majors are fucking weird. And I was like, oh. And like, and you have to know a bunch of music theory. Oh. Took that in high school. That shit sucked. Also, welcome back, Derek. I want a bunch of consoles. I've told Derek this story, but we had a PlayStation 2 that we ended up having to get multiple times because they my my sister, I think, would sit the PlayStation on its side as there was like the stand to do with like the chunky PS2. Um, but it broke whatever the motor was that in the disc reader for the little eye to scan the disc. It would break that motor, so then you had to send it off and get a whole new one, pretty much. Um, so we stopped doing that. But then they came out with the Slim, and then we had the Slim. But then we jumped and also got an Xbox 360 for whatever reason. Um, and the video game room was the bar in my house. Derek's familiar. Uh, and that was one of the rooms in the front of the house. And one year, there was a big ass tree outside my house. There are several, but the one tree got struck by lightning and it fried all of the electronics in the front of the house. So it fried the kitchen where we had the computer and the bar that had all the video games in it. So like anything that was plugged in at that time got fried. So it didn't even fry the entire system, the Xbox. It just fried the internet port because we had one of those things. I'm really not. We had one of those things you could plug into it with it was like a wireless Wi-Fi thing, but this was before Wi-Fi was really a thing. Um, so it was either you had that or you ran the Ethernet cord. Um, but yeah, it fried that port, so we couldn't play anything online anymore. So that was a big bummer. But we had to get like all new electronics in the kitchen. We had to get like a whole new oven, shit like that. Yeah. Because I remember that being something that I really enjoyed with the 360 was playing stuff online because that was really the first system that you could do that with, really. Like you could do it with the PS2 if you had the fucking adapter and all the shit to plug in, and we never did any of that. But my sister got it for the Xbox, and I think the Xbox was like hers, being the oldest and such. Oh hell yeah! I was in a Guitar Hero tournament at a GameStop, so there was that. Yeah, we had Guitar Hero 1, 2, and 3. That was also at that tournament was where they were trying to, I think they had just come out with NOS energy drink, and it was supposed to be like the energy drink for gamers back before that was Monster. Or they were trying to take Monster down or something. So they were serving NOS and like the little sippy cup things at this Guitar Hero tournament. So that happened. Didn't make it very far. Um, but I know my mom continued to blame whoever was like hosting it, which might have just been GameStop, because I told them like they they tried to like accommodate everybody, like, oh, do you normally play sitting down? Do you normally have a strap? Blah 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 blah. And I told them that I pretty much only ever played sitting down, and they didn't care, but gave the guy I was going against a chair. So we'll just blame it on that. Rude, precisely. Also, the guy I was going against was like maybe 40, and I think I was maybe 14, maybe, if I was even 14. That was a hot minute ago. Then Rock Band came out, and that was like, that was that was wonderful. Me and my sister had a band in Rock Band, and we one of the achievements that you got, you had to play every single song back to back to back in one go. Uh, you gotta move the whole hand usually. Um, but yeah, had Rock Band. We had a band, but yeah, you had to play every single song. There was there was a fuckload of songs on Rock Band. I don't know, maybe 30 songs. I don't know, something like that. We had to play all of them back to back in one go to get the little like emblem with your instrument. Um, and we did it, but we just kind of cheated and we're really pushing the limits of our gigantic. Uh, it wasn't a. I don't think it was a CRT, but one of those gigantic box televisions that just has like the projector light in the back. Really pushing that, and we would just leave it on and running while we went and did other stuff, and then come back when we could play a few songs, etc. But we did it, and then I went away to college because it became like a whole family affair. Either my brother or my mom would be on vocals every so often. My mom was tone deaf as fuck. And me and my sister would trade off between guitar and drums. Uh, then I went away to college and came back for Thanksgiving break, and I was like, "Oh my god, we should play Rock Band." And they're like, "Oh, we sold it." It's like, what? Was no one going to consult me about that? My sister was like, "It was my game, it was my Xbox." It's like, but we all played Rock Band, but they didn't care. So went many years without Rock Band until I finally had some money, maybe in the last 3 or so years, and went on eBay and bought Rock Band because you could get the game, but you couldn't get the instruments anywhere unless they were like busted to shit. So it was like $360, and that was like a deal. I got the drums, the guitar, the microphone, and Rock Band 1 and 2. And then I had a foster puppy that ate the cord of the microphone. So then I had to just buy a new microphone. But have that now. And then when my siblings were just here, and I went down into the basement and was showing them like, "Oh yeah, I've got Rock Band." My sister, like, you could see her eyes light up and just like, "Oh my god!" And yeah, she ended up like, we have to get the band back together. We have to go play more Rock Band." So we ended up doing that on two separate occasions while they were here, downstairs in the basement playing Rock Band. And I hadn't really played much of two. And my sister, I think she said she may have played a little bit of it. So we were actually going through and unlocking the songs. Um, but I didn't realize that I had made a band on there with Derek. And I can't even remember what the fuck it was called. It was something like incestuous pulchritude or something. It was like, what? But yeah, so we did that, and that was fun. Except I couldn't get it to sync up right, so that was a bit of a bummer. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still tickled by Ape Escape, and I like concurrently pull up the interwebs, and look up Ape Escape. Ooh, that's a series. That's a whole series of games. Oh, it's that little funky monkey. I forgot about him. Yeah, I forgot about him. Oh, Ubisoft. Apparently that came out in 99? Never got into Just Dance. We were a very big DDR house, though. My sister had like the actual mats for the PlayStation. So there, be doing all the steps and the moves. I love that the Wikipedia for Ape Escape says the series incorporates ape-related humor. So I'm curious to know what exactly that means. Ape-related humor. And never played Ape Escape. Oh, he was in Super Bomberman. I love me some Bomberman. He was also apparently in Ratchet and Clank and Little Big Planet and Metal Gear Solid 3. He has made his rounds. I think I have Super Bomberman R. Isn't that? Yeah, that's on the Switch. The Switch. Did you ever play like Mario Party or anything like that? Was that a thing that you did? Maybe. Maybe not. Possibly. Not really. Mario Party was fun. They just, well, it's not Mario Party, but did you ever play the Rayman games, or are you familiar with the Rayman and the Rabbids and all of them? I would put things on my screen, but I don't. The fuck is draw mode? Can I draw on my own face? Hell yeah. I wanted to just put pictures on the screen. I cannot. I guess I would just show my other screen. Whatever. They came out with a new Rabbids game because there was Rayman Raving Rabbids on the PS2 back in the day, where it was just like a bunch of different mini game kind of things, like a Mario Party, but not really like a contest like that. But they just came out with one that is more like Mario Party, and I kind of want it. It sounds exciting, but now I'm all in this graveyard keeper business and getting struck by lightning and shit like that. The salt courses through me, being struck by lightning. I don't want any more lightning. So dumb. I forgot. Oh, the other thing that killed me in that game when I found the sacrificial dungeons. It had it was like autopiloting my character into this one room right over a grate that was shooting fire out and killed me. And I was like, I didn't even have any say in that. You just did that on your own. You just straight up walked into this room of your own accord and then died. And now there's just some bones just sitting on that grate forever. It's like it didn't need to happen. I don't know what the point in that happening, like what that was showing, proving, etc. Especially when it wasn't like it was teaching me a lesson because it did it. So, don't know. Did you play any of the other Elder Scrolls games, or was it just Skyrim? I know He Who Shall Not Be Named, uh, which thank you, Universe, for not for not having me hear from him anymore. Uh, Played Morrowind, and I know that was a lot of people's favorites. I never played any of those games. It's not really my thing. Again, dragons. You lose me at dragons. Precisely because dragons. I really wish I could break down what it is about that setting that I just cannot abide. Because it's not just like medieval stuff. Because I love actual medieval stuff and that just period of history. But once you start throwing in dragons, you start throwing in your elves and your dwarves, and I know that they're not. Yeah, I guess. But I feel I don't know. I feel like stuff like Star Wars, stuff like that is technically also fantasy, but I guess that's like sci-fi route. I don't know what the difference is with the other route that I can't. I don't know what it is. I would love to break that down. Just really break down my psyche as to why I can't do fantasty. Because what even would that be considered if we can break it down into sci-fi fantasy and then the fantasy with dragons? What would that be? Medieval fantasy? Is that a genre? But then even well, I guess it's kind of similar. Like I was almost into Harry Potter as a kid. I watched The Chamber of Secrets, and that was about as far as that went. But I guess that's also wizards. But that's less. Is that also dragons fantasy? That's not medieval though. I liked that one. I mean, I saw. Well, oh, fuck. There's dragons. See, it's always the dragons that get me. I don't know. I know I've seen Prisoner of Azkaban, Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets. I don't know which one comes after. I know I've seen those because everyone else I've ever known ever is obsessed with Harry Potter. I know my sister read all the books, um, but it's just did I not mention Prisoner of Azkaban? That was the first one. I never remember, but I've seen the first three, but I just it's not my thing. I don't know. I don't know. And I know it like really well, I guess a lot of things. Like you and Lord of the Rings. I know it like really affects some people. I'm just like, I just no. I mean I guess. But you're into one of the other yeah. It's like there's three franchises that everybody falls into. It's either Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, or Star Wars. And I just kind of skated by all three of them. Just like, I don't see you. Not looking. I've seen a few Star Wars. I've witnessed a Star War, but again, I would say I probably know the most about Star Wars of the three, but I guess I can do like, or I can more do sci-fi. I guess because in some part of my brain that could potentially be rooted in a reality at some point, just further in the future from where we are, where dragons and goblins and orcs are not at all. But I think I've mentioned to you too. It's just I don't seek out media. Media just like happens around me, and I just kind of take bits and pieces of the information. Like there's a lot of game franchises that I have not played that I know a bunch of things about, and I I remember this one guy I knew in college. Uh, it was before I had ever played or cared about any of the Legend of Zelda games. I was always Donkey Kong growing up. Um, but I knew enough from existing. I knew all the character, well, and from watching the people I watched on YouTube. So I knew about things. Uh, and the one guy had invited me over to play video games. And I was like, I'm A-OK to watch you play Legend of Zelda if you feel like. Like, this is what I do regularly when I'm at home, so that's fine. And so he was, and I was pointing out all of the characters and all the little things that you can do and whatnot, and he was fucking pissed. He just could not abide by the fact that I didn't play the games, but I knew things about the games. He just could not. He was fucking pissed. And then we ended up playing some multiplayer game, and I kicked his ass. And he got so mad that he told me to go home. I was like, oh, you really take this seriously, huh? It's not that big a deal. I swear. It's video games. But yeah, we didn't really talk a whole lot after that. I would see him at parties every so often, but I think he did end up apologizing and just kind of being like, that was stupid, my bad, but thanks. Love you too. Yeah, I think he did end up apologizing. Like, yeah, that was fucking stupid. It's like, yeah, you're right. But yeah, I just continue to be tickled by the fact that he got that upset at me knowing things about games I didn't play, and then getting even more mad that I beat him at games. It's like it's really not that serious. Sorry? Question mark. Also, where did Derek go? He said BRB, and it has not been RB. It has just been B and B. He did. He poofed. I see you, mysterious third viewer. Oh, what? You just haven't been saying anything? I thought that was after the BRB. I mean, before the BRB. Yeah, what? I feel like you've just been like peeping Tomming it, letting us be weird. Man, you could contribute to the conversation. Here I am talking about people in college. You were there, not even asking. Not really listening. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'm here, but I don't give a shit what you're talking about. I don't remember his last name, but his first name was Alex. He played like viola. Um, I might name drop. I got 3 viewers. I don't remember his last name. Yeah, he played viola, but he was also an Afro Cuban with me. You definitely saw him around, but yeah. Okay. Lame. Rip. F's in the chat. Is my that uh not opaque? The opposite of opaque. Opa- no, it is opaque. Is the opacity really that high? No, not Jesse. I feel like that's too much name dropping. But I guess I could. There was a guy I knew. It was the first guy that ever took me on a date. And it was the first guy I met when I moved away to go to college. Um, but the so he asked me on a date, and I was like, okay. And we went to the movies and saw this movie that I probably would have thought it was funnier had I been with anybody but him. But he thought it was like rip roaring hilarious, falling out of his seat, super over the top, and I'm just not that kind of person. So I was just more annoyed than anything. That's the one. uh, and we were having a bunch of conversations about music and just like our tastes in things, and it was becoming glaringly apparent that we didn't we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. So I was entirely fine with just being like, all right, thanks for this. Probably not going to do this again. um, well, no. Well, we had more in common than he who shall not be named. uh, we can say that with certainty. Um, but still, just like, I was also fresh out of the hood, and he was very much not from the hood. So that version of me was like, which granted, still, um, yeah, he took me home after the date, and I was just kind of, I guess, hoping that that was going to be it. Um, then he like kept asking to see me, kept asking to hang out, blah blah blah. Um, and he had invited me over to make me dinner, and I figured, especially at this point in my life, if I showed up in just like some basketball shorts and a graphic tee, that maybe he would get the hint that I wasn't like really trying to impress, I guess, that I was being real casual about this. Um, but then one of his friends called and he mentioned, like, oh, I can't really talk right now because uh, I've got this girl over. And I just kind of thought that meant, like, yeah, girl who is friend. Um, I can't remember what. I think at some point he made the dinner and then asked, like, what we were or like if it was a date, and I was like, no, you just decided you were gonna make dinner, and I was like, okay. um, and then he got up from the couch and went into the bathroom, and then came out maybe 10 or so minutes later, sobbing, just sobbing, and was like, I think you should go. And I was like, okay, I could do that, I guess. I was fully prepared because this whole situation had been incredibly awkward from Jump Street. He didn't live that far from campus, so I was like, I could just walk. Okay, it's been real. See you never. But then he insisted that he'd drive me back to the dorms. And I was like, I really don't want to be alone in a vehicle with you while you're still sobbing. This is like some murderous intent shit right here. I'm not about that life. He insisted that he drive me. So I was like, okay, actually, can you drive me to my friend's apartment? So he did, and just the entire time he was just like sobbing, driving, and just had like a white knuckle grip on the steering wheel. And I don't remember. I think at one point he asked like what he did wrong or something, and I was just like, we're just not nothing that crazy. We're just not. And he just could not hang. And yeah, that happened. No, and that was about it. It was like this just isn't it. It's okay. I swear. It wasn't like you're a fucking loser and I hate you. It was just like we're just not. That was it. Yeah, him and I didn't talk for a few years after that. And then at one point, I think I had just put something on like my Snapchat story, like, so bored, who wants to hang out or something? And then he hit me up, and it had been a few years, so I was like, okay, perhaps. Um, and I needed to run some errands, so I think I was like, who wants to go run errands with me? And he offered, so I was like, okay. And went and picked him up. And as soon as he got in the car, I knew. I knew I'd fucked up. Because it was as soon as he got in the car, just the immediate, like, I don't even know how I would describe it. Just the immediate sob story, like, kind of like the person who was in here earlier, just like, everybody hates me and I have no friends and blah, 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 ha 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 ha. And I was just like, oh, we committed to doing errands together for like 3 hours. Fuck. So that happened. And I think it was after that I just kind of committed to myself, like, no, I'm just not meant to hang out with this person. Just cannot. It was, yeah. He was always kind of awkward, and I think that appealed to a certain type of people, but I was not that type of people. But then it kind of seemed like once I started getting to know other people in the percussion studio and stuff like that, that nobody really liked him. So I was like, oh, that's just who got to me first, huh? Okay. I'm sure he's lovely now, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. You're right. Every time because I don't think I follow him on Instagram, but I think he follows me. And every so often his profile will pop up. And just seeing the profile picture, I'm like, that's the same guy. He's still in there. Still really fucking weird. Derek, did you have any exciting interactions with him? Being like actively in the music ed and percussion studio? Because I got to like do a drive by of all of those situations. Wasn't in music ed, was just a percussion major, not major, just in the percussion studio. It's weird. Right. GB was our university's marching band. He sure did go to Poland with you. That's right. Drumline of GB went to Poland pretty much because the percussion director married a Polish lady. So they went to Poland. It's very awkward. But he wasn't even the kind of awkward that like normally you picture awkward people being, where they're kind of like kind of reserved. He was like very outgoing but awkward. He was like in your face awkward. It's like forcibly awkward. No. And he had this like on again, off again relationship with this girl who also like forcibly befriended me. Um, who she was also aggressively outgoing, but not awkward, more like you might have some sort of something that needs to be medicated. Because she would flip on a dime, just going from like I need to be friends with you to oh my god I fucking hate you, just real quick. Nothing had to happen. Would decide that like so she immediately clocked me as being a threat to her and this guy who she was like obsessed with, and I was like, oh honey, you can have him, I swear. And so she, I guess, decided that because I was some threat to her, she was going to befriend me and kind of, I guess, try to infiltrate from within. Um, and learned very quickly, I'm like, I don't want him. You can have him. She's like, oh my god, you're all he talks about, blah blah blah. I'm like, make it stop then. I don't I don't know what to tell you. um, but they were still like seeing each other, and her and I would go to run errands together, and she would just remember the one time we went to Sally's Beauty Supply, and she just had this big ass fucking bruise that took up like the entire side of her neck. And I was like, did you get hit with a bat? Um, are you okay? And turns out it was a hickey that he just like kept going at. And I was like, I feel like you could have died, possibly, with, like jugulars and stuff. Because it was for real, like the entire like she got hit in the neck with like a softball. It was huge. Yeah, and then she was telling me that they were always like outrageously aggressive with each other, and I was like, okay, have at it. Go for it. Keep it to yourselves. I don't want any part in it, please. Ugh. Just especially, they were both kind of like, they like made a name for themselves in the College of Music as being these like really aggressively extroverted people, but in ways that no one wanted. So then the fact that they like gravitated towards each other and had this outrageously aggressive relationship of sorts was just kind of like, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Right. Now it seems like, hmm, birds of a feather for real. It was the kind of, it was almost like two volatile like compounds coming together where you were just kind of waiting for somebody to end up in some way that they shouldn't be, whether that be like prison or dead or something. Like they were both just like, whoa. But I mean, I don't know about him, but I had ended up at one point blocking her on everything because I was like, "You're a whole fucking lot, and I cannot deal with it." Um, yeah, honestly. Um, yeah, then I gradually unblocked her, and now she'll like message me on Facebook every so often, like, "Oh my god, I love you. I hope things are amazing." Like, thank you. That's it. Appreciate you. But she's also one of those people who like does like the equivalent of Mary Kay, like the multi-level marketing kind of stuff. Which I shouldn't say anything because I've also done that once, but I don't still do it. And I at least thought that the products that I was selling worked, where I'm pretty sure a majority of this other shit that people sell, it's like, fuck difference does it make? Yeah, like she reached out a lot when like Oscar was sick, and then when Oscar died and all that. Every so often, she'll message me, and I'm just like, you don't have to be like this. You don't have to live life this way. I'm gonna re-look up. Yeah, thanks but no thanks. For real, for real. I'm gonna re-look up. Just tell me. Wanted to re-look up uh, what I actually need to do. Mm, Twitch partners. Oh no. Minimum eligibility for Twitch partners. Concurrent viewership of 75 average viewers within the last 30 days. Stream at least 12 different times within the month. Stream for at least 25 hours over the last month. 75 viewers. I touched on 4 for about 5 seconds. Hell yeah. 75 is a lot. I'm about, well, not about to, but it's going to be pretty easy to get the 25-hour mark so long as I do it more than just today, since I'm already at 8 hours. I've streamed for 8 hours on my first fucking stream. But I got some followers. I got 4 followers. Well, yeah, but it's still streaming. Plus, I think this part has only been like 45 minutes ish. So I was still streaming for 7 hours. Wild. Wild. Appreciate you, boo. There's these quick action buttons, but I don't know what they mean. I know there's clip that and raid a channel, but then there's latest followers, and last time I clicked on it, it opened up a new one. Oh, yep, it opened up a new window. Give me one follow this stream. There's 4 people. What you talking about? Oh, yeah, are my chat bubbles really that light? Cause like they should be? I don't know why they're that light. Well, hello, Red Demon Hunter. Appreciate you for stopping in. We're just chit chatting. We're talking about video games. We're talking. What else were we talking about? College woes. Now I'm trying to figure out why my feed is so light in color. I edit my chat as I'm using it. Chat appearance. Oh, no, not that. But the bubbles. No, that's just. Oh, Lord. I know. That's okay. Welcome to all of our lives, person. Always doing things at obscene hours because fuck it, right? Because fuck it. If I do that, I can't fucking see anything. Oh, is it just opacity? Oh god, now you went away entirely. Yeah. A little bit. 90? I like 90. Is 90 good or should I up it? Vampire. I know it's better, but should I up it more or is that good? Is this ideal? Eric, sound off. Oh no. I don't know Celsius, but I know that that's crazy. Right. Now we're here. Okay. Red Demon Hunter. Tell me about video games you grew up with. That's how we were talking earlier. I was always. Oh, hello. Story when someone suddenly stopped walking. I don't know that I've ever been in that situation enough to have a story about it. I have that. I have that problem with my dogs all the time, especially my old man dog. Goodness, that sounds terrible. Don't do that. You'll melt your what is it? Your motherboard, your CPU, something. Um, yeah, I have that issue with my dogs, Kay Lucina, where they like to be walking in front of me, but they want to go where I'm going, so they don't know where I'm going, obviously, from in front of me. So they'll just stop walking, and one of them is a very large girl. So I trip over her, walk into her, etc. all the time, and then she looks at me like I've offended her, like I've crossed her. Well, tell me what they are. We want to know. I've got, well, I don't know what would be considered a rare game other than Company, but got a lot of old games. I'm the youngest of three, and they all played games, so I'm with the older stuff. I know Derek likes learning about all the video games. Derek, what is it that you're playing, by the way? I know you said you were playing games. Asteroids. That's not rare. Everybody knows asteroids. What was that one game? Was it Asteroids? No. Oh, what the hell was it called? It was Ocarina of Time. It's fun. It was a game like Asteroids, but there was a creepy spaceship face that would come flying in from off screen and would yell at you. Ooh, it's fun. Yeah, what game was that? Pretty sure it was named after something star. I don't know. I can't remember. But that thing used to scare the shit out of me all the time because he he would just come in from off screen just screaming, but it was super bit crushed, and then he would ram into you and blow up your ship. Sinistar. That's what the name of that game was. Sinistar. Yes, we all know Space Invaders. Galaga is my personal jam from that era. Got a Galaga cabinet in my basement. Have a little tabletop cabinet of Galaga. Well, you just mentioned like, oh, I'm so old, no one would ever know about the games I played. Everybody knows Space Invaders. Come on now. Unless you think I'm like 12, in which case you would probably be. But alas, I am not 12. Derek, are you playing Ocarina on the Switch? Are you playing it on 3DS? Are you playing it on the mini SNES? Playing it on an actual SNES? On the Switch. That's fun. I keep telling Chelsea that she needs to get a Switch. Oh yeah, it is an N64. Is it an N64? Oh yeah, I was thinking Link to the Past. I'm curious to know how old you think I am. Red Demon Hunter X. Because I don't know if I can still be considered a kid. I think so. Pretty close. Yeah. Around there. You hit right in the middle between me and Dare Bear. But yes, I'm 27. But my siblings are both much older than me. But I also really enjoy video games, so I'm very familiar. Hear that, Chelsea? I guess this is just the old fart chat then. I might as well be old. Herniated 2 discs in my back at 24. Might as well. I have a lot of quote unquote old fart interests. I I had the realization recently that I must have hit the meme about old white guys where, or I guess white guys in general, you like pick you pick if you're gonna be like a car guy, or you like wars or beer or something, because I'm all about the wars. So I guess I'm apparently an old white guy. Dang, so we're all old? If 20 is antique? Man, I know too many really stupid 20-year-olds. I refuse. Wisdom doesn't come until probably at least 28. I've just I've lived all enough life already. I'm mentally in my 60s. Probably physically too, with all my ailments and such. So then what are you playing on your overheated PC? Or are you just on Twitch for funsies? For the chats? That'd be fun. Really, just to see them without cell phones or internet would be a trip. I think 75% of them would implode. They wouldn't know how to sit with their thoughts for more than 10 minutes. Well, you had internet if you had a computer, if you had money. Not everybody had money. I guess it depends on when in the 90s we're talking about. Not everybody had a computer. Certainly pulling up some sweet DOS games. Hell yeah. Is it the dial up? Or is it when you're on the internet and somebody answers the phone? I just love that they settled on that sound to just go into a loud white noise roar. It seems like you could have changed it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Since it was the exact same thing every single time. It wasn't like it changed. The beep 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 beep. Yup. Yup. God. I mean, every time I see those memes of things like kids these days think a floppy disk is just the save icon. Like, no, I played games on floppy disk. Sure did. And on those big ass floppy disks before they got small and hard plastic, those big, like, papery ones, had those. Played me some Treasure Mountain on my Windows 95. Back when you bought a computer and it came with all of the discs that you had to immediately install onto the computer for it to work. With your 50 free hours of AOL online. They sure do. I mean, you just had your different sizes, but I mean, all 45s were vinyl, but not all vinyls were 45s. You had your 38s. I still need to go get speakers for my record player. What nobody knows about is the 8 track or laser disc. The fact that laser discs came out for 1 year cracks me up. It was like 1994 to 1994. Laser disc. Why do you want a Walkman again, though? Okay. I'll say, anytime I think back to having a Walkman, at least, well, the cassette Walkman operated a whole lot better than the CD Walkman because you couldn't do anything with the CD Walkman. You couldn't put it in your pocket; it wouldn't fit. You couldn't hold it sideways because then the CD would skip. You had to just walk around with it, just in the palm of your hand, and be very gentle, so as to not walk over. Yeah, not walk over any bumps to get the disc to skip. And then it was like a whole big deal to get like the anti-skip protection Walkmans. I always felt bougie because I had the fuck do you mean we're tripping? I always thought I was bougie because I had a CD Walkman that had a little touch screen that was literally just the uh, the back play pause and the forward. I thought it was so cool, and it had bass boost. Fuck yeah! Oh, the yellow one. I feel like I remember what that looks like, but I'm gonna Google it anyway, just to double check. See, but Derek, you. Oh, I do remember this. My brother had one of these. Let's see if I can. Derek, you also had a nicer CD player, being the youngest of all of us. Mm, is it doing the thing? Yes, I know that. Does, what? Do I have to go back here? There we go. That guy. It's all stretched out, but it's that guy. No. Well, it wasn't working as hard, so that doesn't surprise me. It didn't have to have the little laser reader in it like the CD players did. I had a CD player that I walked my paper route with. I'm so happy for you, Derek. Yeah, I mean, that was also back when things were built to last, as they say. That was, it reminded me, what was it, a Nextel phone? Where the commercials lauded that it had uh, theft protection on it, or like a crime deterrent, and the whole commercial was them taking it off their belt and pelting people in the head with it. Quality advertising. It's got crime deterrent. That was a thick ass phone. Those old Nextel phones where they would always show like, I use it on my construction site. Beep. Oh yeah. God, those fucking TVs. Very much glad we got away from those. But yeah, we had one of those the big, I don't know what you would call it. I know there's a name for it, but it was like a big box that had the screen and had the whole separate side with all the buttons and the knobs. But it was in like a wicker box of sorts, or it was all like wooden. If you had one of those, that was the original video game TV. Have to flip it over to channel 3 to play your games. I'm still tickled that on the very back of, I think it's the SNES, um, there's a little switch if you want it to run through channel 2 or 3. It still cracks me up. I sneezed and my TV broke. Fortunately, I haven't had any issues with any of my TVs. I would say, if anything, it's always like connection issues with like the smart aspect of the TV. Like trying to use the apps on it or something. Like, oh, this TV is outdated now. You can't use anything. Oh, cool. Or you'll open the app through the smart TV and then it'll just freeze and close. But fortunately, at least what I've noticed with these newer TVs is having the burnout reduction. I appreciate that because that was always the biggest thing that I noticed on like older TVs and stuff like that, especially if they were used a lot. The burn in, not burnout, burn in reduction. So, and like the Switch has burn in reduction. I think a lot of technology has. Oh, but that's PC. PC's not TV. But I mean, yeah. Also because the smart TVs really aren't, they like claim to be great for like ease of use, but they're really not. They're really, I mean, yeah. It's the same with the phones. Just a mini computer in your pocket. And now we're at the point where half the shit they come out with, I'm like, this is stupid. I don't want it. This doesn't have enough things. I don't want it. We're spoilt. Chelsea, what was your first phone? Derek, you too. I mean, everybody. What were your first phones? Cell phone. And how old were you? Oh, I know. That shit's wild. Because I still have my PS2. I was just setting stuff up and G Shine. Shine? Maybe. At some point. Definitely wasn't 11, though. Older than that. Um, yeah, I was just setting up all of my old consoles and found a GameCube uh, memory card that Derek, I know I sent you that picture. Is it 16 megabyte memory card? And now, like, pictures on our phones aren't even as small as 16 megabytes. That's insane that you were putting game files 16 megabytes. And it's still like a chunky, it was slim for the time for sure, but it was still a chunky memory card. And now I just got myself was it a 528 gigabyte memory card for my Switch, and it's like extra tiny. Was mine a Motorola? I think mine was a Cricket brand phone. I wasn't allowed to have a cell phone until I was in high school. So I was 14 ish. Um, but yeah, it was Cricket, Cricket Wireless. It was called the Refurb. You know it's good because your phone is called refurbished. Well, thank you, Sizemore Matters. Um, yeah, it was this little blue flip phone, and I thought it was super cool because it had the little super grainy camera screen. When you had it closed, you could take pictures with it closed, take selfies. But I never used them. I feel that. Yeah, I have. I don't think we ever had an Atari, but I have the NES, the SNES. We never had an Xbox. They sold the 360. um, I've got my PS2 and my PS3. Dang. Yeah, I just found the multi tap that they had for the PS2 that you would plug in to one of the controller outputs, and it was just a fucking brick that you'd plug in, and it had four connections on it for more controllers. Just found that the other day. Like, oh, a relic before things were wireless. I'm still just baffled by the 16 megabyte memory card. Yep, the old net adapter. We were talking about that earlier. I was talking about the 360. I had the wireless adapter for the 360, and then lightning hit the tree outside my house and fried the internet port on the Xbox. I guess it was probably the Ethernet port, but yeah, couldn't play anything on the internet after that. So that was also, I think, like our third Xbox because they kept red ringing. Which was there like a concrete reason for the red rings? Because that hasn't happened to any of these other systems. It didn't happen to the original Xbox. Hasn't happened to any of the Xboxes after that. Was there like a concrete thing as to why the red rings would happen? Didn't happen to anything else either. Oh, every time? That's interesting. Yeah, ours kept red ringing. I bet because my sister kept it in this little like cabinet thing. If that makes sense. Not enough airflow. Dang, it's wild. Yeah, it was always more mechanical stuff. Wild. It was always more mechanical stuff with the PlayStation. At least as far as my house was concerned, having it sitting on its side. Chelsea, what systems did you have? You said you had a PlayStation, a PS1. What'd you have after that? Well, crazy that they put a feature in to warn you about it, but it was literally just telling you, hey, your shit's fucked. Yeah, exactly. All the PlayStations. Yeah, three, a four, and a five. Fancy, you have a five? Derek has a five. He's bougie. No five. Yeah, I never even got a four. So I was like, I really only use my three for watching movies on the off chance that I'm going to watch a movie. And now Rock Band again. But yeah, now you got a fancy new PC. Her brother built her a PC for her birthday, which is still just like my my siblings would never. Pretty much, like I'm currently doing all of this on my laptop, which is a it's like an art laptop. It's the Microsoft Surface Book 2. But I got that because it had the better graphics card. Eric, was it the better graphics card? It still wasn't cheap. I still could have bought a whole or built a whole ass PC for what I paid for this thing. And then some. Yeah, something like that. Because I think the what the hell was that bigger one called? The Surface Studio, and that only had like a 980. 16 PCs, but why? Like concurrent 16 PCs? Cause why? Because what do you need 16 PCs for? That's a lot. That's a lot of PCs. Donate me one so I can not using laptop. So I can have multiple screens and such. And a keyboard that's not this one. Chelsea, I love that you only bought it because the keyboard was backlit. Well, back in the PS2 days, uh, you would have like actual exclusive to PlayStation games. Now everything comes out for everything. So it was like, well, yeah, if I want to play this, then I have to get this console. If I want to play this, then I have to get this console. They put different stuff on the one for the Xbox, and I need that stuff too. But like you can get all the same things on every PC. So having 16 PCs just seems well, right. Yeah, now it's like you have to have the newest system. But back then it was like if I got both of these consoles, it's to play different games. Because single. I mean, like, do you sell them though? Because I feel like that would be good money. Just be selling pre-made PCs. Oh, for sure. All the builds. It's a very expensive hobby. Faux show. That's just not something I'm willing to spend money on right now. If slash when Twitch takes off. Well, that's fun. Most hobbies are expensive if you want to do it right. Do it right, do it well. Yeah. And if it's not monetarily expensive, then it's time expensive. Which Chelsea knows very well with her costume making. I'm not shitting on you, I'm just saying that shit takes forever. There's no choice but to have it take forever. Can't blow through shit like that. Right. So you don't blow through it. So that you don't have another needle in your finger. Just the thought. Ouchies. I'm hoping the future girlfriend build not being used is because you guys will be busy doing other things. Not because she won't use it herself. Fingers crossed. Ah, that works too. Had to be one of them, right? What did you have on the Wii, Chelsea? Out of curiosity. Oh, yeah, that'll do it. Ooh, Guitar Hero on the Wii. Not ideal. But that was another one of those instances. You had Guitar Hero on the PlayStation versus the Xbox versus the Wii. You had different set lists. I want all the songs. Yeah, yeah, that's what Derek had it on when we lived together. I can't believe that we were still buying accessories for the Wii in 2016. I also don't like that 2026 is only 4 years away. Oh, I know. It's disgusting. Well, it also means I'll be 31. You know, to mess with and break. Why? But Chelsea, you know that that's my entire MO, is to just continuously say things that you don't like. Derek, are you still playing Ocarina? Please don't text me more pictures of the soup can. So for for the rest of you, there's this absolutely terrifying grocery store near where Chelsea lives that has a bunch of animatronics in it. For why? And one of them is a gigantic Campbell's soup can that's on a swing set that hangs over the entrance to the aisle. And sitting next to him on the swing is an ET dressed as Indiana Jones. And they're in the cereal section. What the fuck is it called? The cereal band? Cereal bowl band? I don't know. But it's a bunch of cereal mascots that are in a band. Also animatronics that just sits on the shelf. Why? That sounds about right. That sounds about right. I don't know that Jungle Gyms is a magical place though, because who the fuck was like, you know that grocery stores are missing animatronics, like Chuck E. Cheese. No one said that, and there's a reason. I need my grocery store experience to be more like Chuck E. Cheese. Give me a giant soup can with lips. It's so terrible. I hate it. Do yourselves a flavor and look up Jungle Jim's soup can. You'll see it. It's awful. So now Chelsea sends me that to terrorize me. Oh shit, it is 4 in the morning, or I guess 4:30 in the morning for you, huh, Derek? Big yikes. I think Chelsea is currently sending me this fucking soup can. I guess I could show it on stream, live. Why'd you send it to me twice, you demon? Who needs this in their grocery store? No one. Why is it over the aisle and gigantic? Tell me. It's awful. And now she sends it to me to be evil. All because I said that Legolas could be a Targaryen. Don't climb on it. It will probably kill many people. Also, Derek, what foot are you going to a football game, or just because it's Sunday night football tomorrow? Double also. At least two of you are in the same time zone. Listen, you also suck for sending me this fuck ass soup can. So, stuff it. I just want to know why E.T. is next to it, dressed as Indiana Jones. Not just E.T. Derek, I also love that you said you have to shower and sleep before sitting in your house and watching football. As if That's something you have to prepare for. I'm not gonna be ready to sit on my couch and watch football. I need to get my 8 hours in. Yeah, he's out for an adventure with a giant creepy ass soup can. Neither of which I desire in my grocery store. Do that shit. That's better suited for Chuck E. Cheese. Get that shit out of my grocery store. Appreciate you coming on, hanging out, Derek. It's been real. Take self checkout. I did self checkout earlier and immediately ran into an issue with me trying to put the bag in the cart. It was like, now you got to put the bag back. Well, now there's an unexpected item in the bagging area. Yeah, the bag you just told me to put back. And the guy had to hobble over and scan his shit. If they were more foolproof, I would appreciate it. But they never are. Ever. And they don't make those little areas big enough. If I got a fuck ton of groceries, or groceries that require more than one bag, then I need to move the bag and I'll just move it and put it in my cart and then fill the next bag. You're not allowed to do that. That's a problem. It's dumb. I guess for anxiety, but then the self checkout fucks up, and I feel like that's even more anxiety. Because now you got the whole thing blinking above your head, and you have to stand there like an idiot. You're like, I know exactly what the problem was. Make it stop beeping. Quit it. I tried to not do self checkout at the one grocery store by me. They just put them in. Um, maybe like a month or two ago. Uh, and everybody that I've talked to that works there is like, I fucking hate that they put those in here. I'm like, well, then I will use your checkout lane. You must you must have the magic touch, Chelsea, if 95% of the time you don't have an issue with self checkout. I would say I'm the opposite. 95% of the time I do have an issue, 5% I don't. But also, yes, don't punch self checkout. That's just advice for life. Now why am I tripping? First, I'm tripping because Derek's got a bougie CD player. You also don't run into issues with self checkout? Why do you hate them? That don't make no sense. Or is it because you just don't use self checkout that you don't run into issues with self checkout? I don't run into issues because I avoid it altogether. I think I might hit the 9 hour mark on my stream and then call it a night. So I'll be having streamed for 9 straight hours. Man, Oh. My favorite is when uh, there's 800 people in line and all that's open is self checkout and none of them are working, but they just won't open up a regular lane. It's my favorite. Hashtag Walmart. Notorious. They don't have those over here. Walmart's here. But I also don't think I have any grocery stores around me that are 24 hours. Walmart at least used to be. I don't know if they ever went back to 24 hours after COVID. After quote unquote. Yep. Also Walmart. Hashtag Walmart. Yours hasn't gone back to 24 hours, Chelsea? That's what you're saying? Yeah, well, I moved away to a Walmartless place. So is that Mayor? Major? It's Meyer? MY hyphen ER? Meyer? Okay, that's what I thought. That was my only option when I Instacarted you. Just Meyer. I don't know if that's your only grocery store. I remember seeing, well, it wasn't late when I did it, was it? I remember seeing a meme of somebody took a picture of the like the Walmart employee choir singing Christmas carols or whatever, and the caption on the picture was like, "That's why there's only ever one lane open. Everybody else is practicing for the Walmart employee choir." It's like, what? I can't think of a single time I've been like, man, I really hope that the Walmart employees get together and sing Christmas carols, and if they do, I need it on a CD to purchase, as if they need any more money. What time was it when that got delivered? Chelsea, was it 8? 8 question mark? Hmm. I think it was supposed to have been earlier than that. I think, because then I got a thing in my email saying like, "Sorry, your delivery was delayed." Whatever. Like, as an apology, take this thing, double whatever. But your sandwich was great, and I will assume better than Subway. I feel like that was always the last place that workers wanted to be. But I guess I was also in Texas. Nobody ever wanted to be in Home and Garden. It was always either way too hot or way too cold. As hashtag Texas. The Home Depot I worked at, there was only ever one person working in Home and Garden. And then half the time, there wasn't anybody out there, and you couldn't go out that way. You had to come in through the main store. For the 3 seconds I worked on before I herniated 2 discs in my back and then was out. No, not in Houston. You got cameras everywhere. Everywhere. That's also the fault of head cashier because your whole job is to make sure everybody else is doing their job. It's just micromanagement. They said no. Head cashiers didn't show up that day. Chelsea, what kind of sandwich did you make earlier? Did you make a combo? Or none? That works too. What kind of gas stations are you going to? Right, of course. Any gas station that I go to, there's one person working, and it's behind the counter, and they're in a box, so they don't go anywhere. I don't know that I've ever actually been in a gas station in New York all the years that I was there. I guess because I always took transport station. Yeah, there definitely wasn't more than two people working behind the counter at any gas station I've ever been to. Even two people is a rare occurrence. There was always the one person. They were plexiglassed in, so they couldn't go anywhere. I'm still just, it continues to throw me for a loop. The one time I had driven to Oregon, Portland, and pulled into a gas station, and I suppose so. But I've never even seen more than one person working at the gas station. Um, yeah, I went to Portland and pulled into the gas station, and there was a crazy long line, and I was like, everybody needs gas right now? And it was because they still do the self service or the serviced gas, and that was my first time ever experiencing that. I was just like, why is this sketchy looking guy approaching my car? Turns out he worked there and was going to pump my gas, and I'm just like, I can do it. So everybody here can do it. Really. I remember when they first uh, were like starting to, or were thinking about phasing out the service gas in Portland, and everybody was just losing their fucking minds. And just like, I don't know how to put gas in my car. I can't do it. How do you open the thing? How do you scan your card? You pick gas. They took away my gas person, and now I'm shooting gasoline all over the fucking all over the gas station. Like, Just use common sense, Portland. I promise it's gonna be okay. It's 100% like in Zoolander with their gasoline fight, but these people were dead fucking serious. I don't know how to put gas in my car. I launched it all over the person next to me and myself, and then somehow lit the entire place on fire, all because you took away my gas station attendant. What? God, TikTok needs to stop existing. Maybe I'm just an old, but TikTok needs to stop. It needs to be shut down. Oh snap! I've hit my 9 hours, folks. It's been real. I appreciate you both for coming and hanging out. But yep, also the people who take the pump home. What the fuck? Ow. But with that being said, it's been real, but I'm sleepy. It's almost 3 in the morning. I've been streaming for 9 straight hours. But appreciate it. Hopefully, I will be back in the next couple days. So, bye.